All right, let's welcome everybody out today to episode 58 of Utah in the Weeds. My name's Chris Holifield.
And I'm Tim Pickett. And today we've got a great discussion with a whole new side of the cannabis market and world in Utah, Chris.
Yeah, Jeff Hedge. He's the owner of Sunny Days Cannabis, medical cannabis delivery here in Utah. This is going to be exciting for Utah. I'm excited for it. I wish I had enough time in my life to actually go drive. I think it'd be fun to deliver cannabis to patients. But this is going to be a great conversation if you're interested in getting home delivery, and it's also a great conversation if you're interested in getting in the industry. Listen to this. Get a hold of Jeff. Let him know you're interested in being a driver, and then that will help get your foot in the door, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who are trying to get an in the industry, just looking for a way, like driving is a pretty good way. Really be a fun job. I mean, think about it. You're showing up to people. There's no question they're going to be happy to see you.
Yeah, and then bringing them a little present and all that. We'll get into that conversation here, and you'll hear it all. Jeff will explain how it's going to work and how you can work or get delivery.
And a little bit of housekeeping, Chris. So, man, we've got a flurry of dispensary or pharmacies open in Utah, like from north to south. Brigham City Beehive Pharmacy is open in Brigham City. Go up there, say hi to Mindy Medeo. She's the pharmacist in charge up there.
Awesome.
Exciting to see her back in the game, right? The pharmacy game. And if you go south, you've got Pure Utah in Payson that opened. And then just north of there, the Cannabis.
Yeah, what a name. I like that name. Cannabis. Yeah, they're in Springville.
Yeah, and they just opened. So you have a lot of, like 3 that have opened in the past month. And then you've got Justice Grown that's going to open in St. George anytime soon. And Bloom Medicinal, which is going to open in Cedar City. And I've seen pictures of the inside of Bloom. It's going to be beautiful. It really is going to be a destination pharmacy. It's big, and they're going to have a lot of product down there.
What about the South Jordan one?
South Jordan with Justice on 103rd South.
Should be open this summer,
should be open. Yeah, it should be open by June 1st, really. So I know they're working hard on that location. I haven't had an update recently on like exactly the date that's going to open.
Okay.
But we're essentially going to be full maxed out here in the next month.
And you have a list of all the dispensaries at utahmarijuana.org for people to go there. Hit that dispensary tab, and boom, you got there. Go. And I think the websites are there too, right?
Yeah, their website links are there. The map of how to get there is there. We've started, if you want to review the dispensaries right there on utahmarijuana.org, you can leave a review for those dispensaries. It's just I think it's going to be a good place for people to go see all of them in one location, because there's not anything like that outside of there. So yeah, go to utahmarijuana.org and search out the dispensaries.
Yeah, go there and then go to /podcast. Listen to the back episodes of the podcast. Subscribe. Share your favorite episodes with friends. Share it with 3 people. That's my challenge this week. Each listener share it with 3 of their friends.
Absolutely.
But let's get into this conversation with Jeff Hedge.
Okay.
I thought it was a great one. Yeah, Sunny Days Delivery. Great conversation. So let's get into it.
Have your medicine delivered.
Yeah, there you go, guys.
When did you get introduced to cannabis?
Right.
Yeah, and on what level? I mean, where were you? When were you? How was it? So tell us.
Let's jump in.
Yeah, you're good.
My first experience with cannabis was not medicinal. It was in Houston at the Police and UB40 concert.
Oh, nice!
So it was a great place to have it come about. My roommate at Texas A&M picked me up from class. It was about 2:00 on a Friday and said, "Hey, you want to go to the Police concert?" I was like, "Yes, absolutely." So we drove to Houston, and we're sitting in the crowd, and it just comes down the line, and he takes a hit and hands it to me. And I was like, no. He's like, here. So I was like, okay. Tried it.
Yeah.
And, it was whatever.
What year was this? What year?
Early 80s.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering, because the Police, okay, that was probably 80s, but UB40, a little, older, but maybe not. I guess they've been around for a while.
They had been around for a while, but they were kind of hot at that time. So.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man.
And Police were big, so...
So was it something that you just tried the one time, or was it did it become part of a daily thing or a weekly thing? Or
no. I mean, I tried that, and I'm not sure if I felt anything that night or not. It was just a fun concert.
Yeah.
Got back to school, and probably later that semester, a group of people came over to our place, and everybody's hanging around, and somebody pulled some out and started smoking that, and sort of was, okay, this is neat. We went outside and enjoyed the day, and then through, in college, you just kind of start running
into it, right?
Exactly. And then just kind of, it was more, like I said, not medicinal at first, more recreational, and then, enjoying it with friends. But, over the years, from, knee injuries to arthritis, different types of things, it's become more of a medicinal product for me.
Yeah.
Than how it started out.
When did you realize, at what point, though, did you realize, hey, this can be used medicinally? I mean, was there a moment, or was it just kind of one of those things that just happened?
No, I think it's more that it just happened.
Yeah.
And then maybe at times not consuming cannabis, realizing, wow, my knee hurts more than I realized.
Than it did before the other day when I was when cannabis was around.
And I'm anti-pill. I try to stay as far away from pills as possible. Late in my life, in my dad's life, I mean, I don't know. It seemed like it was over 10 pills a day. It was just a lot of pills that he was taking for different things, and they all affect him differently. And I was just watching that. I made a decision at that point, like, try to stay as far away from pills as you can for as long as you can. I know they serve some benefit, but I think that cannabis can be the alternative to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
especially when you're talking about things like arthritis, pain, and
Yeah, I mean,
anxiety.
Isn't that how pills were designed? Yeah. I mean, they were marketed in the beginning for approval based on the idea that you would take this for a while and then you would cure or treat whatever you were treating, and then you'd get off of it. Right. Unfortunately, that's just not.
Now it's like once you get on a pill, you're on the rest of your life.
There's no getting off.
And then if you start talking about pain pills, they can be a real problem getting off of them.
So you grew up in Houston,
Dallas.
Oh, in Dallas.
Yes.
And did you spend? Here you are. You're introduced to cannabis in Texas, and you're there, but you didn't. You got into cannabis and then had to leave. Tell us about that.
Had to leave.
I mean, you got introduced to cannabis as a business, and then Texas wasn't the place.
Yeah, no, we were in Texas, and it's not legal. I mean, it's legal medicinally, but in a very, very small group of people. And my brother was living in California at the time, went out and visited him, went to Venice Beach, went to MedMen, and I was just like, my goodness. I'm walking into a store, and it's like the Apple store, and I get to look at all these different strains and pick out what I want, and they put it in a big, bright red bag that I walk out the door with. And
it's such a cool experience,
I was just like, I love California. I'm moving to California. So I was always intrigued by the industry, and it was, we can be in Texas and watch and read about what was going on in California at the time. And all these companies were just getting rolling. MedMen was getting rolling. Ease was getting rolling. And we had, so I had a technology company in Texas with some partners. And we had, at one point, built a food delivery app and had some insights on how they were operating the food delivery operation. Just had some experience in that aspect of delivery. And always knew, I think people want their cannabis delivered to them. It's great that they have drive-through drive-throughs, and the stores are there, and you go to the stores. But at some point, I think people would prefer, ultimately, just to start having it brought to them. And so, delivery was always in our mind. We knew how we could build the app. We built the base of what Ease was. Went out to California, and then I just really thought I would walk in and in a couple of months have 10 dispensaries lined up to
deliver for them.
Oh yeah, I thought it was going to be just a cakewalk, and I just walk in and say hi, and it would be great. And it didn't work out that way. It was hard to get partnerships with pharmacies. Worked hard with some of them. Got in San Diego, had a group that we thought we were right there, and somebody came in with $1.5 million cash and bought the exclusive delivery.
Oh wow!
Rights for the whole San
was
Diego
it
County.
real?
So we couldn't compete in that world.
Was it competitive for the money, or was it other? Were there other hurdles of getting involved?
Just finding owners. I mean, it's not, you can't just walk in and find the owner of a pharmacy, of a dispensary in California. There's lots of walls between even who's listed on on the documents and who actually owns them. And then they're in groups. The group that we finally talked to in San Diego, we were talked to one of a group of owners who was getting us in the door. And but it was, and then when all of that was kind of happening and the thing kind of fell through with San Diego, but we still had some other opportunities. That's when the lawsuits started happening in California, where cities like Beverly Hills, who had said we don't want cannabis dispensaries in our city, then there was a change in the law where delivery could happen in Beverly Hills, and Beverly Hills saying no. We said we didn't want that, and a bunch of cities like that got together and sued the state to end delivery in their cities, which would have been devastating for any delivery shop. So, then COVID happened, and so the actual final decision of that just was in November or December, and the judge threw out the lawsuit. So. Delivery can happen in Beverly Hills.
He was like, I live in Beverly Hills. I want my cannabis delivered.
Right. Probably was the case. I would not be surprised.
I mean, they basically have their own Amazon Prime trucks that drive up and down the street in Beverly Hills, I'm sure.
Right. No, it's and that's just the state of California. It's so chaotic. The rules are being changed as you go, and it's kind of the Wild West. Not my knowledge, but I mean, this is just documented that I think the number was 60% of the dispensaries have open doors. Mm-hmm. So what you're buying may or may not be, legal cannabis.
Oh yeah.
And the traditional market is very strong in California, like 3 times I think the 2020, I believe it was 4.1 billion in legal sales in California. And the traditional market was 3 times that.
Oh, yeah.
So
wow.
It's very large. So knowing all of that, and then at the end of last year, learning about potential opportunity in Utah and medicinal, I was like, medicinal, though, I don't know. And I started researching it and studying it. And I just think that this is the best place to be. Utah has got this right. And I know there may be some customers that think, prices are too high and there's bureaucracy and all these hoops that we got to go through to get, just even get a card. But I think that is good. And I think the quality of the product is going to be, they can count on it. They know it's high quality. I don't know. I just think this is a great place. And I think Utah's doing it right. So we're excited to be here. And when we learned about the opportunity, started investigating it and coming out and meeting folks, just really made our mind up that this is where we wanted to be and basically start our operation. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, so tell us, Sunny Days, home delivery, cannabis home delivery.
DAYS. I had a battle with that. Everybody's like, "Oh, DAZE, right?"
Oh, right. Yeah.
I was like, no.
Sunny Days.
We're trying to normalize and mainstream, and I can't do DAZE. That's not really a good word.
Right.
So are you delivering? Are you delivering yet then?
We're just getting started. We've made some agreements with some pharmacies.
Okay.
And then we've got right now it's the hiring process, and it's hard. There's this is I think this is the best job market in America, Utah. There's not a lot of.
They're definitely top. Like I think it's top 3 or something. It's hard to find good people. It's almost like full employment if you want it. Now, COVID, that's put a dent in it, but. So describe your operation. Can you, as a third party, you're considered a third party?
Correct.
Or you're not considered a producer or a grower?
Third party medical license is what we'll have. A medical courier license. Sorry.
Medical courier license.
Yeah.
And that's regulated by is it regulated by the Department of Ag?
Utah State, the state of Utah.
Yeah, the state
same
of
laws,
Utah.
The same laws that are written for cannabis law in Utah apply to me.
And your drivers then will have to have a courier permit.
Have to have be an agent, a courier agent. They have to go through screening, FBI background check, clean driving record. It really narrows the pool of who we get to choose. But again, it's medicinal cannabis, so it's.
Do your drivers need to have medical cards?
We're not delivering enchiladas.
Right. Yeah.
Do your drivers need medical cards?
You don't have to be a consumer. You don't have to be a patient to be a driver.
Okay. I was just curious kind of how that worked, right?
You do have to be an agent and be a licensed courier. So they have to go through that whole process of getting that, which we do that for them. But
right, and that specifies the rules of, hey, I'm going to pick up this cannabis from the pharmacy, and I'm here's the protocol. And then do you have to write a bunch of like standard operating procedures that have to be approved, or how does that work?
Yes, yeah, and a lot of that, since we don't have a warehouse full of cannabis. Our partners, the pharmacies, they've got most of the operating procedures were approved for them. We're picking up and taking it and delivering it. So there are steps involved in that, and our cars have to be, install GPS, not just your phone, cameras, security in the back so people can't see the product. It needs to be lockable. So there's a lot of steps when we get our vehicles that we have to go through to make them compliant. And then those get checked before, the courier gets to start doing deliveries. So we have a few steps that we're doing right now. Hiring is the main thing. We're getting our cars and getting them ready. So we're hoping to be ready to deliver for more than one pharmacy, multiple pharmacies, starting in June.
So you wouldn't even deliver out of your own car then? You have special vehicles for the people.
We could potentially use someone else's car, but I will have to drill holes in it and
because of the installed GPS and lockable things.
Yeah, I don't want to ask somebody to do that, so we'll just
right. It's not like you could just show up like an Uber job and you could say, "Hey, I want to deliver some cannabis, and let's just use my car. I'll turn on my availability. I'll go pick it up and deliver it."
Yeah, a little bit different. It's not a gig job. It's a full-time job, and with paycheck and and everything.
And
so
like
it's
the normal stuff.
Normal hours got to show up for and everything. So we need dependability.
Do you have?
There's a lot of them that need to be delivered. A lot of packages need to be delivered.
Yeah, I mean, with hundreds of transactions a day in each of these pharmacies, I mean, you would think that there would be a good percentage of those that would want delivery if they could, right? Already. So, I mean, that's a lot. You could do the full-time gig, right? You could do the full-time job and show up. My question was, can you store, or is there any rules where you can centrally store some of this material so you can, or do you have to go, like say you have a deal with Beehive, you got to show up at Beehive in the morning, you got to get their product and you have to deliver that product. And if you're going to go buy somebody in, let's just create the scenario. I've got to deliver in,
Mount Pleasant, man. That's
Mount Pleasant.
You know where that is? At Manti, right?
Right. So you got to deliver it. But I'm going to pick it up from Beehive, but then I also deliver for Deseret, let's say. Yeah. Do I stop by there and pick up more?
And that's routing and seeing the all of the deliveries that need to be made that day. We assign routes to our drivers. Most of the time, there will be enough orders for that driver just to work with that pharmacy. So they'll pick it up.
And they'll just go do their day's route.
I don't know if you've ever delivered food.
Yeah,
you said you have.
Pizza.
You can only
flowers.
You don't want to drive 6-8 hours a day. That gets tiring, especially if you're doing it day after day after day.
Yeah.
So we're looking at like 4-hour drive shifts. So typically that driver will go pick up maybe 10, 15 packages, and then take off and start doing routed drops.
That's
and
pretty
so
cool.
The furthest one out will be the last drop, and then they come back. Now, let's say there were 3 people that they couldn't deliver to. They just didn't show up, which, maybe for your food that might happen, but I don't think people are not going to get their cannabis after they order it, but we'll see. But if you've got up to 4 days to make that delivery. So some pharmacies have depots in other areas. So if you're going south and making deliveries and you weren't able to make all your deliveries, we could come back to that depot, drop it off for up to 4 days to make that delivery again. Before it has to come back.
But that's that's like
a drop box or something.
I know you could potentially, like with Zion, they would have a place maybe in Payson where they grow, and they could call that a depot, and because it meets all the regulations, and if they had a retail, I guess they don't have a retail license.
Yeah, that's I'm not sure about being able to store it there, but it's a possibility.
It's the same concept though, right? If Beehive has a depot between here and wherever you're delivering, you could potentially store it there if you weren't able to make the delivery.
Yeah, great example.
This
A great
seems
example
complicated.
is. There's some hoops. A great example for Beehive would be a lot of customers up in Davis and Weber County, right? So we go take a route up there and come back down, and maybe there were 3 packages that we didn't deliver or couldn't deliver for some reason. Maybe we could drop that at Brigham City, leave it there, and then make that route, so we're not having to do that route so far
Again.
each time.
Can you talk about the pharmacies, or do you want to announce the pharmacies you're going to do delivery with, or
I think they want to make their own announcements, so we'll just kind of announce as they make their announcements. We'll promote or inform.
Yes.
Well, let's
but it's they're so like pharmacies here may be announcing, we're going to start in Utah County, and then we're going to start in Weber and Davis, and they may spread those announcements out. So we'll kind of let them make those announcements. But we're talking to a handful of them, and are hoping to be delivering for the majority of the pharmacies here.
How far out will you deliver, though? Like that's my curiosity is like, will you go as far as to like the Idaho border? Will you go, how far south will you go? How far east-west will you go?
Yeah. And in reverse, if you're in St. George, how far north will I go? It's a thing that's being worked on. The majority of the customers are in the Wasatch Front, and a lot of them are San Diego County and Utah County, and then it gets smaller as you go into the other areas. And then when you get rural, it's a lot fewer. We have to touch those, and we do have a solution ready, but it won't be the first thing that we do. We'll start delivering locally, in the areas around the pharmacies. If you're Utah County, bringing them into Salt Lake County and above, and take care of that first. But towards the end of the summer, we expect to start making routes south and trying to touch as much as we can.
Very cool.
Ultimately, we've got to, if there's people out there, we want to get it to them. We can't leave here, drive to St. George with one order. So we have to have a solution for that, but we're working through that. It helps if we've got partnerships with multiple pharmacies versus just trying to do this with one pharmacy.
Sure.
So I'm just trying to understand how this works, and people listening, they're going to want to understand too. So how would they get you to deliver? Do they go to your website? Do you have an app? How does that work, and how do they know what pharmacy to order from? I mean, let's talk about the process.
Yeah, at the very beginning, each pharmacy will start announcing that they have delivery. Okay. So you'll go through their online ordering process and choose whether you want it delivered or not. If it's delivered, I know you guys have heard, because I learned a little bit listening to your podcast. There were some questions and some concerns about the MJ Freeway and the electronic verification system, and just some bugs in it, and I need to learn about this stuff. And actually, listening to some of your podcasts, I got some answers. So it was good.
Write that down, Chris.
100%. But it's so when the orders go through their point of sale system, it will be distributed into our delivery system, and then we'll be able to communicate with the customer that we're coming. The customer and our driver will be able to communicate with each other. The customer will be able to watch the delivery coming to them. So if they are upstairs and want to come downstairs and greet our driver, which we appreciate. Every driver appreciates that. They'll be able to watch it coming to them at a certain point. And we're not, we're not trying to deliver your pizza in 30 minutes. So, we're going to have to educate. Don't run out and then say, I need it now.
I need it in 20 minutes. Guys, come on.
This is something that you're going to probably have to schedule at least a couple of days in advance in the beginning. Potentially next day. But if you're locally, and maybe the further away you are, the longer you have to give a little leeway.
Yes, we'll have to do scheduled, routed.
You'll see, as you go rural, if I'm a little bit further away, Wednesday's my day.
Yeah, if you're in
Moab, I can pick up Wednesday's delivery route, but that's pretty easy to teach people how to do,
just
right?
Don't run out.
On Wednesdays, the milkman comes, and so I make sure my order's in by Tuesday afternoon so that Wednesday I get my order.
Exactly.
That just seems like it'll make sense.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of how many deliveries they expect in Utah? I mean, with 25,000, this is maybe something you wouldn't even, we could talk about. Nobody has any idea, right? There's 25,000 cards.
Well, I think that's if there's increasing every week.
Yeah, and you have, however many of those have Amazon Prime accounts.
Yeah.
And get stuff delivered to their house. That's how many potential customers there are. And gosh, of those card holders, you would think a lot of people are going to want this delivered.
I think so. I think Utah is going to be a little different. It's not. I don't think this is like going into the wine store and getting a bottle of wine and get in your car and leave. I think there's still a stigma that we're trying to erase. I mean, we're trying to
know
normalize
there's a stigma
cannabis
still.
But this state's going to be a little different, and I think that people are going to not want to be seen at the store right now at the very beginning, and that delivery will be a preferred way of getting their product.
So your vehicles aren't going to have big pot leaves on.
We're going to be super discreet because we don't want our drivers to get mugged.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's actually the main reason.
Yeah.
Because your drivers are going to. Are you going to be able to allow your drivers to accept cash, or are they going to have to use some sort of digital payment processing?
So in the state of Utah right now, the law is that the transaction actually has to take place before the delivery. So they will have to pay Beehive or whoever it is up front. And right now that's only Hyper, unless they come in and pay cash up front, which is an odd scenario.
Now, if somebody out there from Hyper is listening, we would love to talk to you because I have heard that there is up to 50% problem. 50% of the transactions that they start with Hyper have some sort of problem. And it's not ready. It's almost like not ready for prime time yet. It works, but it's like the EVS system. It's just cumbersome and
technology is hard. And when you rush it out, you're going to find issues. I mean, they come up. And this is a big technology that they tried to push out real fast, and I don't know if they just did this for here or if they're in other states, but yeah, definitely have heard the concerns. What was it 2 weeks ago? The House, put the bill up, so that we can have the banking. We need that to pass.
Yeah.
The pharmacies they've invested a lot. They're putting a lot into this, and they need to be able to take somebody's debit card or credit card. It's just a very simple thing that's being asked. So hopefully the Senate will come through and President sign and all that.
It permeates even other businesses that are totally legal banking, but are attached to the cannabis industry in some way. Like with our clinic business, we are constantly on edge about the processing, even though we run a medical clinic and we should be able to bank and run these cards. It's still, you've got a backup for the merchant services, and then you're always working on a third backup just in case something happens. So with you, I guess it's nice that all those transactions will be done before you even get the product.
It really is. Our drivers will show up and they have safes where they will have the orders already fulfilled. They're already purchased. Everything has been verified. We just pick them up, route them, and deliver them.
Will they allow your drivers to accept tips?
That conversation has gone both ways with pharmacy owners. Some don't like the concept of the implied, you need to tip, and I understand that. And we certainly don't feel like somebody needs to feel that way, but
Utah's not known to be tippers. Let's just say that.
If somebody delivers and it's a long distance, and that person is so inclined to say, here's a couple of bucks or here's $5, we want that to happen. So I think what's going to happen in some the pharmacies when you're checking out, you might have that opportunity to tip using your card, but mostly that would just be a cash option for the patient or for the patient, and certainly not something that's expected. We're going to pay well, more than double minimum wage here for our drivers, and so we want them to be comfortable.
Sure,
I mean, struggling to put food on the table doesn't work. So we want everybody to participate in.
So it sounds like to me the pharmacy is the one hiring you, not necessarily the patient. Like you're working for the pharmacy directly. If the pharmacy's saying, here, deliver our product, You know, because I'm used to more of the concept like pull up the app, right? Like you're not going to have your own Sunny Days app and stuff. You're just going to, you're going to be working through your local pharmacy just like
it does make
anyway.
A lot of sense, Chris, to kind of pull up that app and say, well, I'm getting my cannabis from Sunny Days, so, and I know they deliver here. So why don't I go to their app and I find the strain that I like, and that sorts me to the pharmacy or the location that I want. But
I mean, ideally,
that's ideal.
There's a lot to it. So so said app is already built. we have that app ready to use, and we may or may not use it in Utah. That may be used in another state. The situation here is we would have to tie our system into MJ Freeway, into
Dutchie,
the
all
EDS,
those,
and then have that work with the pharmacy and not cause them not any additional work, but we don't want to be a problem. And right now, it would be to bring a technology like that to the table, in my opinion, is bringing a problem to the pharmacy that they don't need right now.
When right now, what they need is just patient experience.
For us.
Yes, please. Just take this product, get it to this patient's house, and let's just start with that.
Yeah, it's not, and that's not required by law, but it was very much emphasized in getting your license as a pharmacy that you're going to provide delivery. So it's something that they need to be doing. So that's solution number one. But we do intend to have our own site, Stay Sunny, which will ultimately become a form of an app that will allow consumers to at least come through and see that there are different things that I could. And here's Dragonfly, here's Beehive, here's Deseret, here's all these different things. Here's what they've got. Right now, they've got to go to each different site to do that. So they would be able to do that with us, and then probably link into that particular pharmacy, place their order through that pharmacy to get started. Once all the technology is up to speed and everything is smooth, then we could bring our app in and let customers shop
through your app.
Yeah.
And then reach out to the pharmacy to make the payment even and tie that together.
Yeah. We need to get to a point where we're able to take credit cards.
How
and all
long
that stuff,
do you think?
Right now, it's just not a good time.
No. How long do you think that takes? 5 years?
Oh, I think in less than a year.
Yeah, five months.
Yeah, I really do. I think all of this is happening. I think so. Obviously, with taxes and things, they're obviously making a lot of money right now, and it's not in their benefit to change that. But the banking is something I think that everybody agrees with. Republican, Democratic, I think they're all on the same page. So I think that's going to happen, and that's just going to exponentially help things.
Sure.
So and make it so that we might push our app a little bit faster.
Yeah.
We want to be able to take credit cards. I'd rather our drivers not deal with cash, but only being hyper is just not the right time.
No, absolutely not. Do you feel like with some sort of change in the legislation and making it easier, would that make competition harder for you? Because you could have a bigger, what if Uber just decides, we're just going to take over cannabis delivery in the U.S.
Sure, and they're already talking about it.
No way,
really. They want the laws to change first,
right?
But they have a system down. But it'll just be like everybody. They'll go to California first. They'll go to New York. Then they'll go to Texas when Texas is opened. Florida. They'll hit those places, and they'll look at Utah later.
Got it.
It's like even MedMen was like, Colorado. Pfft, we're not going to Colorado.
Right.
New York, Florida, California, those are the only places they wanted to be. And I think that big mindset of an Uber doing delivery. Now, they may just open it up nationwide, and if they do, great. But I think that we're going to build a reputation with our partners and be good partners for them. So I think that'll be harder than maybe they think.
Yeah. I'm always interested to get people's opinions about other markets and like things that change. Like for us, the medical, in the medicine part of things, if we allowed telemedicine visits, then essentially that whole industry becomes run from out-of-state clinics. Right? These clinics that have these big operations of telemed docs and PAs, somewhere in the middle of Ohio, and they just sit there in a call center, and that doesn't make any sense to me from your personal relationship with cannabis. if we're going to destigmatize this, I think we need to be, that personal relationship is more important.
Oh, I think so. I think, and just from the experience of going from, from Texas, where, you're calling your guy, to California, where you go into a retail store where it's, what's the THC? What's the THC? That's all they're concerned about. It's just a number. And out here, going to which I came to y'all, qualified medical provider, and had my
evaluation,
and then met with I think I went to Beehive first and met with their pharmacist. There's just conversation about the plant and the different things that you're doing with it and the different benefits, and you've been smoking it with a lighter, all this time. You're just burning off all the good benefits, and there's better ways of doing it. And that's not taught in California. They don't care at all. They just want to know what is that THC number,
right? And how much can I make on the sale? Yeah.
Well, and especially in the traditional market, because they just cut everything, the vitamin E in the vape carts and all of that. If you remember that.
Oh yeah. The
I'm
vape
super
cart
excited
scare,
to be to have this delivery thing, Chris. I like
delivery. I mean, delivery is. I
love delivery. We get our daily dose of Amazon every day.
Oh yeah.
Or a couple of times a week, and I just can't. And I can totally see that this would just be added to the convenience. When you need something, nowadays we just go online and we order it and it comes. I have noticed it's pretty hard. It seems like it's pretty cumbersome to get delivery. The only people, it seems like Dragonfly has some delivery starting. Wholesome has kind of ramped up a little bit. And I've tried it with Wholesome, and we are actually working with them on this process, because you've got to register. And I think this would be the same with everybody. You'd have to go to the pharmacy on their website. You have to register as a patient. You have to get hooked up with Hyper in order to do it. Make sure that works. And that process alone is going to take a couple of days to get through.
Yeah.
Then you have to go back online and you have to make your order and schedule your delivery. Oh. So I can see how for you, for Sunny Days, this is a lot of education and a lot of integration, building those pathways for those patients to try to get through. You almost need to help the pharmacies make that easier.
100%. Yes. Yeah.
Is that all you're doing right now?
Well, I mean, it will be our goal when the pharmacies turn the light on and say, hey, we're delivering. We want to educate and help in any way we can to get those card holders to make this easy. I mean, just make it where you're pulling up an app, make your order.
And this is different than making it easy to get weed. Okay, like this is, you're already a patient, you're already in the system. This is just making it easier to get your medicine, because we all know we can go down to Walgreens and we can buy whatever we want today. And if that was delivery, we can have Tylenol delivered tomorrow. It should be that easy. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It really should be.
My
CVS
easy. Delivers. Walgreens delivers, don't they?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's easy. So we just need to make it that easy for the patients that need it.
Let the patient use their ATM card, their credit card, whatever they want to do to buy. And that's going to help things a lot. And then just get through that process. I think just signing up and not to, not to give them a hard time, but I think just the whole process of signing up for Hyper is from what I've heard I haven't done it, is a process.
Yeah, there are multiple companies, even in Utah, that are starting to develop these little, payment pathways to even bypass the bank, and try to get some way that people can make this transaction and avoid the legality. And if they can do it, then it would be great for Sunny Day. I mean, it'd be great for everything.
It'll be great for their pharmacy. I think individual pharmacies are doing this, and it'll be great for their pharmacies unless they want to share it with everybody.
Right.
But let's make that Safe Banking Act go through, and that's just going to help everybody.
What's the recent word on this? So it passed in the House, but
I think
now it's just sitting in
the House. Yeah. My understanding, and we talked to JD about this the other day.
Well, it changes left and right.
Yeah, it does change. Is that they're kind of tabling it until they get some sort of comprehensive package together with cannabis nationally. There's a fear that if they pass it, then big companies will just come in and dominate the cannabis industry, and it doesn't protect the little guy because the banks would just come in and take it over. And so I think there's some concern about the little guy.
Who's concerned about it? Not the politicians aren't concerned about the little guy. No, you would think not.
And of course the big banks aren't.
Yeah, I was going to say, who's worried about the little guy?
So that's a good question. Who is worried?
I am worried about him,
I'm fine with it. Just throw some money at Hyper so they can get a bunch more engineers and developers to write that, to get that code right.
Hyper's not local. They're
I don't think so. I think they're
they're
nationwide. And I could see blockchain or crypto. I don't know how much you guys follow that, but I could see that being a solution that bypasses the bank altogether. It's just that it's not, we don't use it.
Yeah. It's not mainstreamed.
Yeah, definitely.
We're just trying to mainstream cannabis right now.
I mean, you think Hyper's got trouble. Try teaching somebody how to, download a wallet and buy crypto and use that as a transaction.
Yeah.
What about long term here? Do you plan on ever get into growing, or would you like to get have a pharmacy one day? Would you like to get more into the industry, or are you fine kind of just doing deliveries?
No, we definitely love the delivery aspect of it. We would like to have our own products, whether we're cultivating that potentially in some. There's only certain cultivation licenses here in other states. We potentially do that down the road, but also just creating private label product and having partnerships with cultivators. We look to have the Sunny Days product brand out there.
So you're looking to go big. I mean, as big as you can.
Yeah, we're leaving it at about those two things. Delivery. We don't look to have retail stores. That's a lot, and it's a completely different business. Is what we tell our partners that we're talking to. You're running a storefront. You got employees in there. It's a business. This whole logistics thing is a business too, and they're realizing it. They're like, man, this is like a whole nother thing. And I was like, yeah, just don't worry about it. We'll take care of that for you, and it's a good solution.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to do this because I can see quite a few pharmacies really focusing on their own patient experience from their end and being happy to kind of outsource this to somebody with a good reputation, somebody who's focused on this type of market.
They still want that customer experience on our end too. So each pharmacy has made it very clear. We'd like to meet these people. We want them to go through some training on our end as well. Know how we want things presented and what we want them to say. And so the delivery agent can't say a whole lot, and they're not pharmacists, so we can't answer a whole lot of questions, but can answer some questions.
Sure.
It's not going to be like food delivery where it's just drop it off as fast as you can. We want to say hi and
that was
hey,
another
how do you
question
enjoy your last
I had.
brand and all of that and things.
Yeah, you could get some feedback from the patients. So does a patient have to present ID to take the product from the agent, right?
Yeah, have to deliver it to their address that's on their ID and on their medical card. We'll in our technology we'll be scanning their ID, scanning their membership card, scanning the product, and then they'll open it up, make sure that
it's all there.
That's what I ordered.
That's what I ordered.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty good process to get. It's not like getting a pizza.
Yeah, it's not huge, but it's and we don't want it to be like pizza. But we want them to be comfortable, and if they've got any questions, we want to answer them. If it's related specifically to medicinal question, we'll refer them to call the pharmacist at the pharmacy. But when you've gotten your cannabis, you don't want to talk a lot. Just go back and
right, like
open it up.
You're excited.
Yeah. It's like, thanks, appreciate it, goodbye.
Get out of here. I'm sick of looking at you.
I really have no questions for you.
Right, like I'm the one who ordered this. I know what I'm getting.
You know what? It's funny. Earlier you were mentioning, getting people kind of conditioned to allow like a few days for delivery, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like most of us are kind of used to the black market where it might take a few days to get your order anyway from your dealer or whatever.
Whoever.
There were times I'd make a phone call one night and it would take a week to get it.
It's the way I've always said is like, this isn't pizza. We're not doing it in 30 minutes.
Most of us are used to that.
When have you ever called your guy and gotten it in 30 minutes?
Yeah, no, that's what we're used to that. So that's why I think you're really in a good industry for that because most of us are pretty patient.
Yeah.
No pun intended there. No.
Right.
And the only people that ever started that 30-minute thing was Domino's. And everybody thinks
they don't even do that.
They're supposed to get their hamburgers and everything in 30 minutes now. And it's like, no.
No.
You're not going to get your cannabis in 30 minutes.
No, this is going to be really cool. And you know what I'm really excited about too? This has got me really excited about the interview that we do with the driver in a few months.
Yeah.
Right? The Sunny Days
hook
driver.
us up with one of your drivers.
We'll have
100%.
to, look forward to a
And each one of them are
interview.
having, I mean, as I'm interviewing people, everybody's got a different story.
Of course.
So it's just kind of interesting getting to know people. And then when we get our team together, that's kind of the fun part too, is, putting a good team together and keeping them together, keeping them happy, and, make it a good job, a good thing. This isn't a career gig, but
it could be.
I guess it could be.
You never know what happens, and people want different things nowadays. With their careers, they want the freedom to do something else or do this on their own terms. How many drivers are you hiring right now? Like, how many do you think you need right off the bat?
Well, as the pharmacies start saying, okay, we're going to do this county and this county and this county and this county, we see having 14, probably 15 drivers, couriers before the end of the year. Maybe before the end of the summer. Maybe before the end of the summer.
There's no way to know unless you just get out there.
Everybody's
and start
ready.
doing it.
Everybody's ready to deliver.
Yeah.
So it's but again, there's the hurdle of the only way that you can do delivery is by hyper. So you have to. That really narrows the audience down. But all of that stuff will go away, and then the audience will be able to grow.
Yeah.
I think when anybody can just use whatever card they're doing, go online, order it, have it delivered in the next day. I think that's just going to be perfect for everybody.
Absolutely.
And that's all up and down the Wasatch Front. Like I said, as we start going rural, it may be a couple of days, or we're going to deliver Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you'll know when you're going to get it.
You know what I just thought of too, and this is probably a technicality. This might not even have a point to really be discussed here, but how much product can a person have in their car? Because you can only have so much dry flour on a time, and so much stuff. So you could only have so much ounces of product in your vehicle. It's
a lot here. Actually, it's $10,000 worth.
Okay, so they can have quite a bit of product in their vehicle.
Oh, but it's value. Its retail value is the limit for the couriers.
Say again.
Retail value.
Oh, yeah, retail value.
Well, like some states have like only so many ounces of bud on your car.
Your car.
So I didn't know if there was like a limit there in Utah.
It's
a dollar.
Having that license, being a licensed courier agent,
that kind of
gives you that ability now. They can't have anybody else in the car, or if somebody can't leave all that stuff in the car. There's a lot of rules to that. You can't have that product and have a vape pen in your pocket. That's having something in that car that's not part of the manifest.
And then you can't go. It's not like you can stop off at the
Del Taco
and go in and have a long lunch with the car, right?
It's part of. You can't leave the time is 60 minutes. You can't leave product in there leave the car for 60 minutes. So you can go grab something to eat
or something.
He started talking about things that we're having to deal with here. Is it gets hot here in the summer? Edibles.
Yeah, didn't think about that.
So we've got to,
especially now that you can't coat them with sugar to keep them away from each other.
A little cooler, maybe, huh?
Yeah.
Refrigerator.
Be able to handle that so it doesn't all melt. And in the back, the lockable. Somebody cannot walk by a car, look in, and see a bunch of bags of cannabis. So it's got to be out of sight, hidden, locked.
Are you
going to steal it if they bust a window?
At least are your cars going to be yellow?
He doesn't want to tell us what his vehicles look like.
They're going to be. They're just going to be a myriad of different types of cars and colors and things. I don't want anybody to know what our cars are.
Yeah,
I got a Sprinterman out there, and I might graphic that thing up.
Yeah.
Put a little note on the back of it like, "Hey, bad guys and police, there's nothing in here. This is just ads, or it's just an ad." But anything that was graphicked would be more for informational purposes,
right?
Not we definitely wouldn't mark something that was carrying product, because that's just a target.
Yeah, that just seems like a bad idea.
I mean, that happens. In California, people will just sit there and watch the dispensaries in the mornings, and when you see a car come up to a certain spot that's designated for the drivers, and they're loading up with a bunch of product, sometimes those cars get followed. And
is that big? So that's big in California.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow. No, just another reason for the safe baking thing to pass, for more security.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, because it's not like
California, you're carrying a lot of cash. Couriers are, or drivers are. Different words: dispensary, driver, courier, pharmacy.
Yeah,
I like on your site how you have dispensaries up there.
Yeah, we know what we're working with. You know,
we know what people use. We know the words people use, and we're comfortable with whatever you want to call it. That's the thing that I think destigmatizing it and kind of normalizing it is. You want to call it whatever you want. You want to call it a dispensary, a pharmacy. Everybody's just so different, and they come to this from a different place. You know, like you've come to this from this background in Texas, where the laws are a certain way and the culture is different than here. Then you go to California, and see how there's some things in California that are probably good, and there's a lot of things that, well, they kind of missed the boat.
Sure. Yeah. No, they. I think I read somewhere where and it was about the cannabis industry in California, is that California never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. It's the place where it all started. So we got to give them a hat tip.
Yeah.
But they definitely have things that they need to work on out there. And literally, if it's gonna be recreational and open it up, then open it up. Let people open up stores and not make it so hard to get licensed and have the dispensaries. I mean, even the I met a person who was involved in California. They're trying to get the people who were in the traditional market. Hey, we know what you're doing. Become legal now. Become compliant, and we're cool. We won't look at what you've done in the past. So, I met a guy that had 9 different trap shops. We were just fake stores that were open in California, and they're competing with the people who are paying a lot of money with for pharmacy license and then paying the taxes, 33.25% tax on your sales in California. So. Again, it's just the Wild West out there. But it was the beginning, and so we got to appreciate what they've done. Mm-hmm. But it makes you appreciate what's going on here with 14 licenses, 15th coming up, and they're going to cap it at that. The cultivation is capped, and they're keeping a track on everything. I think ultimately for the consumer, you're going to have good quality product. The cartridges, the vape cartridges, I mean, in California, you have no idea what's in the vape cartridges out there, even if they're coming from the pharmacies. Out here, I think it's pretty legit, and for sure that this is good quality product. And, give these cultivators a few rounds, and the flower's all going to get better. All the product's going to get better and more, and good supplies and all of that.
Where can listeners get a hold of you? Like if they're interested in becoming a driver, if they want to find out more about what you have going on, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Great. Yeah, no, we appreciate that. You can come to our socials. You can come to our, which is Sunny Days brand, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can always hit me up that way. You can come to our website, which is Stay Sunny. We're just into the whole sunny, bright sunny thing. We thought that was part of the normalization of this.
Absolutely.
I mean, you smile when it's a bright sunny day outside, and you smile when somebody knocks on your door and says, "Hey, I've got your weed." So you get a big smile both ways. So that way, or reach out by email. Personal email is jeff.hedge@staysunny.com.
Excellent. Yeah, and I would imagine even be connected like on Instagram to even just find out what's going on. I mean, it's a good place to be connected just in general.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody's promoting their new drops, their new releases, events that are going on. You learn about CannaFest. I think you guys were out there.
Yeah.
That was great. Dragonfly did a good job with that. Beehive did a great job with their what was it, Fatso Sugar House?
Sugar House Selects.
Fatso. There were lines of people trying to get that product, and those guys, when they do a drop like that, that's really good to promote it. And social is the way to learn if you're a consumer. And with you guys, I mean,
did you see they got Tommy Chong? Did you see their Instagram?
Yes, I saw the Instagram with Tommy Chong.
Wasn't that the best about getting the Fatso?
That was great.
Hey,
go
Salt Lake.
Yep.
I think one of their partners is with High Times. So when you're with High Times, you can probably just call up Tommy Chong,
They're pretty well connected, those guys. And Sugar House Selects, man, that is some really good genetics.
Yeah.
I
don't know their background.
Those guys are, I mean, they're just they seem like they're top notch. They're just growing that craft grade type cannabis, and Fatso's, I would guess, their most popular strain.
Fatso,
like well known.
I think
as
what
far
other
as
ones
like
have they had released? I don't know if because the
it.
Maxine, that was Zion, right? The Maxine,
Maxine Zion,
Mad Max. I don't.
The Fatso was good. I've tried some others out here that a little dry. I'm not going to call it a brand, but but again, it goes down to it goes down to give them a few rounds of cultivation, and this is just going to get better and better and better. And that we've got something here now is just a great thing.
We all have to start somewhere.
Yeah,
you're not an expert from day one. You have to start somewhere, and you're only going to get better.
Yeah,
that's right.
100%. And growing is a process. It's I've known growers that you get 3/4 of the way through it, and a bug gets in your system and messes the whole thing up, and they have to throw it all out and start over again. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to ask him, Tim, before we wrap this episode up?
This has been a fun conversation, Jeff.
Really
Thanks for coming down. Yeah,
definitely.
I'm excited to learn about him. Oh yeah, you bet.
Anything else you want to make sure to talk about, Jeff, before
no.
Because I know it's hard to cover it all, and it's hard to know what directions to go. I just kind of wanted to give a sample to our listeners to know, hey, this is happening. It's going to be happening. This is what's going on in Utah.
You bet.
Keep an eye out for these Sunny Days drivers.
You bet. And we're hiring and looking for good quality people. You've got your background checks, and clean driving record, and we need good personalities and things. But we're going to be we need drivers in Utah County and up in Davis County and Salt Lake County, and then we'll then have some drivers that are going to be really going on some long routes.
Little long routes. Yeah,
exactly. But
I'm sure that
they'll be. If you're in Utah, you'll be coming into Salt Lake, and if you're in Davis, you'll be coming down to Salt Lake, and Salt Lake, you'll be going up there. So it's this is a beautiful state, and there's all kinds of jobs you can have, but this one is delivering smiles. I guess that's Amazon's thing, but you really are delivering smiles. Somebody's always going to smile when they see you.
Come on, you needed that,
and you get to drive around in a beautiful state and absorb the scenery, and
it's a good way to get involved in the industry. I know a lot of people they're mentioning online, how do I get into the industry? Well, this is a good opportunity. If you're listening right now and you want to get involved, and you're thinking, I got a pretty good driving record, hit up Jeff.
It's a great start.
You're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to meet the people at the pharmacies and a lot of these patients, which is, that's a good way to get in.
And then you're in. This industry hires from within. And if you look at Indeed or something, everybody that's hiring for cannabis wants you to have been in cannabis.
Yeah.
So it's they don't want new people so much. So this is a great way to get into the business, and we're going to be hiring a lot. So
very cool.
Excited about it.
Very cool. And then how can people find the podcast, Tim? I'll let you kind of talk a little bit about that.
UtahMarijuana.org/podcast is where all the podcasts are housed. You can connect with Chris or I on UtahMarijuana.org. You can use the Contact Us form or at I Am Salt Lake.
Yeah, IamSaltLake.com. Go check out my other podcast,
and Utah Therapeutic Health Center. If you're interested in becoming a patient or you need help with your card or registering or basically anything with related to the Utah Medical Cannabis program, we're just interested in helping and getting people more info.
Easy peasy.
That's great. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Stay safe out there.